Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be doing a school supplies haul. Not doing an actual vlog today because I haven't really had anything to vlog. A lot of what I have for content is just kind of how I've been feeling in the moment and all of that. So that's why I'm doing this supplies haul video. You may or may not know this. I did post on Instagram and I tried, I think, to post on a lot of my social media platforms, but I recently turned 30. I didn't vlog any of it, but I do have some pictures, so let me show you a few of those now. Okay, and we're back. I was treated really awesome during that period of time and I had a lot of fun. Unfortunately, my allergies were really bad. We had some trouble with wildfire smoke and I got a face full of smoke at the one thing that we had the first night. We had a wiener roast and it was over a bonfire and it was a little bit smoky, and so I got a couple facefuls of smoke and so I could barely breathe on the day I had my birthday. I was starting to become a little bit miserable at the end of the day, and then somebody might be able to find me some allergy medication, and honestly even last night I was still taking some, so we're heavily into allergy season and I'm really feeling it this year. I was a little bit not in the greatest of moods, probably is what it could have been. This is kind of the final stuff that I need. The next few weekends before I start school, I'm actually busy, so I'm unable to go get school supplies. I don't know how much some of this I'm going to be using in the end, because I'm sure some things might change as I go on. This is kind of what I came up with what I can figure out how I want to kind of structure this. I honestly have no idea what I'm doing yet, because I haven't actually done a course like this before. And this is going to be very different because I basically have to have everything accessible, because in one space, which is where I'm actually in right now, you guys have seen this before. This is basically my space. I did bring my laptop down here just in case I want to test some things out. Some of this might change. I may end up needing a couple of other extra things. I also still need to move my printer down here along with that stand. As far as it goes, this is going to be everything that I think I'm going to need. And I'm going to explain kind of what I'm going to be doing with everything that's not very obvious as I go throughout this video. So if you're interested in kind of what I'm kind of feeling out for this, be sure to stick around. The first thing I'm going to start off with is something I actually just found last night when I was randomly looking through the back to school stuff on the website I was using. I found this thing and I was like, this is a great idea. So this thing is like a cart, and it's going to be really nice because I'm going to be able to move it around a little bit and I'm going to be able to keep everything on there in that one spot. There is going to be a few drawers with some storage when I get the printer down here, but for the most part I'm going to have to be really careful about my space because my space is pretty limited on my desk. There's going to be enough space to basically work and stuff like that, but not for storing anything. So when I found that thing last night, I was pretty happy about it, honestly. Just that would be perfect. So I was willing to spend the money on it. It's nice too because where I'm coming to do my school, I don't really move around. Unlike university, I would never suggest anything for in-person classes like that for university. If you had a home desk that you wanted to use, it would be good. But I think for this particular purpose of where I'm going to be having everything in one spot all the time, it's going to work out perfectly. And I'm probably really going to like that. All right, just thought I'd check in. This is what I've got so far, basically. I was actually a little worried at the start because it was so flimsy, these two pieces kind of down at the bottom. They actually should have changed the order of putting them in, but now that I have these two poles on, the two poles on here, it's actually, the basket is nice and sturdy. It was rocky at the start. It's oh no, not going to be able to put books and stuff in there, but now that I've gotten these other poles on there, it's actually okay. All right, so I've got this thing together and a couple of things in there. That was a pretty easy assembly, honestly. Had a little bit of trouble at the start with a couple of steps, but then once I got some of the other stuff in place, it went together pretty well. It is a little bit short for when I'm standing, but it'll work perfectly fine because I keep planning on keeping everything in this and just grabbing out of there. That's the stand put together. I think I'm really gonna like this too because I can like move it out of the way and stuff. I think I plan on putting my printer on this side. This next part is going to be in no particular order. So for the first part, I've just got a couple of binders, one for each semester. I probably will have to change up what I'm doing when I actually get into our third semester. So I've got a kind of a spring semester to this program. But that's going to have to be a lot more portable than this. I'm not going to want to be taking a binder with me every day to when I actually have to be on campus. So for a little bit of context for those of you who are unaware, I am going to be starting a pharmacy technician program. And so the way this works is my first year, so first semester, second semester, until the end of April, starting in August till the end of April, is completely online, which is nice because I get to save on living expenses, get to stay at home, have people to help me, with the basics, which is really helpful, especially when you're transitioning into something so different. However, the third semester of first year starts in May, and it's about 4 weeks or so. So there's a component where I get some pharmacy experience from what I've learned in first year, and then there's a component of having to go and do some practical work in labs. Pharmacy technician is a very practical career. You do a lot of things with your hands and you have to learn techniques. And I will kind of be sharing these techniques as I go throughout the course in the best way I can. I'm not going to be able to film when I'm at campus. I'm not going to be able to film when I'm actually in lecture because I would have to get permission to do that. So I'm going to be showing you the best I can from my own perspective using my own content basically. So I'm gonna also try to keep like lecture slides and all of that off of the internet as well, just because that way I'm avoiding any issues with copyright or that kind of stuff. I'm gonna have to get a little creative on how I actually explain and show this, and it's probably gonna be not really as showing, but maybe talking about what I'm actually learning. I haven't really decided how I'm gonna do this yet. That's the plan, is to keep as much of what is not something that I own off of the internet. And the reason why I want to start off with that is so that you guys have seen that. So when I get into some of the other stuff, you kind of know what I'm doing with it. Okay, so dividers. I ended up going with these. I got two, one for each binder. Now, normally you would have 4 or 5 subjects if you were in a university type setting. However, I think I have about 7 or 8 classes this first semester. It is insane, actually. So in university, each class was 3 credit hours, unless you were taking a course that lasted from September to April. That counted as 6. So basically semesters were 3 credits usually. This is not how it works for me. I'm gonna need like a decent amount of dividers for each semester basically. So I went with like an 8-tab thing. And I will kind of maybe get this ready on like the first, maybe before school. I do specifically have some days off that I can kind of prepare. That being said, I don't know what my mental state is going to be in those few days. I'm already starting to feel a lot of emotions. One of the ways I learn is writing out notes. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. Like, I can type stuff out, but it won't be memorized. So I learn best in 2 different ways that I found out. First is spatial or recognitional type learning. So this is what things like Anki provide, which is what I'm going to be using actually to study for a lot of this stuff. It works great for the medical students. I'm hoping that I can make it work great for my pharmacy technician program. Now, because this is so unique of a course in Canada in particular, there's not going to be really any like decks that I'm going to be able to use. I might be able to find some med-term decks or something, but for the most part, I'm probably going to keep my own cards and all of that because this is so specific to specifically pharmacy technicians. I don't know how much I'm going to be keeping on the computer versus how much I'm going to be actually writing. So I have both options depending on how I'm feeling and don't need to scramble for supplies. I don't know what I'm going to be using more, and it's probably going to be feeling out for at least the first couple of weeks. So the next thing that I got is just a bunch of Post-its. So one of the things that I've actually developed is writing notes for everything. If I think of something, I write it down. Write it down in a note, stick it somewhere. One of the things I commonly do every day at work, actually, in the pharmacy, is just writing a note down. Oh, I need to know that. If somebody tells me something that I need to know for a little bit, and I don't think I'm going to remember it, which a lot of times I don't. My short-term memory these days can be a little iffy. Now, we have scrap pieces of paper and tape to deal with this in the pharmacy, so we're not buying Post-its constantly. Got some Sharpies. I actually found some that have both ends, so one's a thicker end, one's a fine tip end. I don't know if I'm gonna need these or not, but it's just best to be prepared for everything. I do use markers at work, so I'm just like, you know what, it might not hurt to have them. I don't know if I'm gonna need them or not. I don't know how much they're gonna have me doing, being that this is online. But at least if I don't use them this year, maybe I'll use them next year. Okay, next thing, just some mechanical pencils. So I've got, I believe, 3 math courses, 2 or 3, yeah, 3 math courses over the next couple of years. Pencils are always good when you're working with math, so that you can erase it. And it's a little less messy than pen, because then you're not like scratching it out and all that, or having to use whiteout to make corrections. Then I just bought some pens. So we've started using these type of pens at work, and I really like them. They're the S-Gel Sharpie pens. Some of the pens are just black, and some of them are actually multicolored. Like, I ended up getting 2 packages of just all black and then one just multi. I don't use a lot of colors in my notes, at least right now, so I only went with 1 blue pen. I don't know, I may end up having to buy some more, but hopefully I won't have to do that. That being said, my actual favorite pens on the planet were these pens. For those of you who have been a part of ZDogg MD's tribe, my favorite pens on the planet have been these. They're so nice to write with. They're very nicely balanced. They write really nicely. Unfortunately, because I love them, they are out of ink. As I was saying, correction tape for whiteout. I think I use a whiteout almost every day because I make a mistake almost every day when I'm writing things down and all of that. I ended up getting a tape dispenser, like one of the ones that we have at work. Again, I don't know if I'm going to need tape, but I got some tape because we do use this all of the time in the pharmacy. So I wanted to make sure I had some in case I need some. I don't know how relevant it's going to be, but I decided better safe than sorry. Ruler, always good, even just for a straight edge. That's basically why I have that. Just, again, preparing for like having everything. Basic calculator. In fact, I didn't even need this. It's got a memory function on it just to have a calculator. So right now I tend to use like my phone or whatever, but I can't do that during exams. So a nice little pencil holder that's going to go into my wheelie thing. But actually this one's small enough I could probably keep it on my desk. The plan is to not do that though, and to have everything like right here. I ended up getting a couple of different highlighters. So a lot of people have said they really like this pastel type of highlighters on like haul videos for school supplies. And then I got the basic ones just in case I revert back to my old ways and don't want to change. So I got some pastel ones and then some regular ones. I, again, don't know how much I'm going to be using a highlighter because there aren't any textbooks so far. I'm hoping it stays that way. I really don't want to spend a whole bunch of money on textbooks after how much I spent on school supplies today. And then just some replacement leads for the pencils. So this was a debate that I was having with myself for the last couple weeks. Originally, I had decided I didn't want this. However, I went back and watched a recording this morning on the technology that I'm going to need for this program. We had still had access to the recording, which was super helpful because it was a lot of information that day all at once, and I only watched this section I needed to in order to get my supplies, and I decided I needed one of these. So this is an external webcam. The biggest reason I went with this is because I have to be able to take the camera and be able to show my desk. I cannot do that with just the camera on my laptop. It's like be too awkward. So I did end up getting a clippy external webcam. Okay, so I hope you can see this, but I'm on my Zoom app and just testing out settings. This is such a clear camera, but like this is the reason why I need this external camera, is to be able to do this when I'm on Zoom. Be able to pick it up from looking at me to showing what I'm doing. And then I ended up getting a planner. I'm debating on whether I should have a wall calendar too. I may end up just using sticky notes to remind myself to put it in my planner. I was really sad actually. I'd found a planner on the website that I really liked. It was like a galaxy type thing, like stars. I got there and they were out. I was so sad, but I ended up really liking this design. So this has like the months like this, and then it's got the weeks as well, so that you can make like a checklist of everything. Now, honestly, I probably will, between this and the Post-its, do both of them because I don't know where I'd put my wall calendar in here. It would probably have to go over like on the wall over there kind of deal. And I don't know. I'd rather not. The reason why I went to Staples to begin with, so that's where I got everything from that I'm showing you here today, is for these. So they're kind of more like a journal. So I ended up getting 3 of these. This is also where some of the money went. It's got like lines on there. I have one book that I used in university for one of my classes that I actually still use to this day for other personal things. It is kept the entire time. So my plan with this is to make it so that these actually are used for me later on when I'm going back through notes to study for my board exams. We are strongly recommended to have a dock for our computers. I ended up going with this. I'm hoping I end up using this because I did spend a decent amount of money on it. However, I have a lot of ports in my computer as it is. I've got a SD slot here. I've got 2 USB-Cs. I believe one of those is a Thunderbolt. No. Yes, both of them are Thunderbolt ports. This is the headphone jack and then an HDMI cord, which is really important because I actually need a second screen to work on. I've showed you guys how this works, and I'm not going to show you right now because the desk is a mess from everything that I've been showing you so far. I need to be able to use a second screen, and I've showed that in a previous video. Then on this side, I've got a regular USB port, and then this is just where the fans are, and this computer uses its fans significantly compared to my MacBook Pro with the M1 chip in it, but I can't use a Mac. So originally I was actually really upset about that because I didn't want to spend money on a computer when I have a computer that works really well. However, I'm actually happy about it now because I found out that a lot of the Zoom is actually done through the account we get for Zoom actually being a student. So we get like a higher end version of Zoom for free. And the way you log in will mean that it'll be nice to have a separate computer for school and a separate computer for personal because I'm still going to have personal Zoom calls that I'm going to use my regular normal account on because I'm not hosting. So I don't need to have the, fancy stuff. I'll be able to stay logged in on my personal account and my school account on the other, on this computer here without messing up all of that and having to do multi-factor authentication constantly. I will have to for my one for the school anyways because they have that as a security feature. But at least being able to keep them separate, I won't have the issue of having to constantly sign in and out of accounts based upon what I'm doing. So I was really, really annoyed about the no Mac thing until I found that out about Zoom. I'm over the annoyance of having to get a different computer because of the one program or the multiple. Actually, a few programs aren't very Windows compatible. I've done a couple things now using the program that my school uses for all of the online work called Brightspace D2L, I believe it's called. I actually really like the program. It's way better than the Blackboard I used at the U of S at the time. One of the features I actually really liked, I hope they keep this in the actual course. I don't know how much it's going to be though because they're probably going to be giving us a lot of PDFs. These other courses I did were asynchronous, so I could do them at my own pace. When you had something right in the program, it had a text-to-speech feature that would scroll and you could listen and read at the same time, and I really liked it because it was like listening to a podcast. One of them was just like a basic orientation to the school, and then the other one was an academic integrity course. I don't know because of how many ports I have. It seems like a lot of the upper end computers that the school tends to use, like with the brand that they use, doesn't come with a lot of ports. And one of the reasons I actually chose this computer was because I liked the amount of ports on it. So I don't know if I'll end up using this, but we'll see. Just basic erasers, scissors, just to have them again. Stapler, enough staples to probably last me for, the rest of my life, but I got a really good deal on these. And then just a couple of packs of like what I call loose leaf. I don't know what you guys call this in the US. Just in case I want to use this in binders. I also have the notebooks as well. But I think the plan is to kind of keep my actual school notes in the binders with loose leaf and then copy what I think is important to the actual hardcover. I think that's everything. So I've spent quite a bit on supplies for this, but again, it's just because I haven't been in school for 6 years, so I really don't have much office stuff lying around. I will show you what everything looks like when I get it together, I guess, maybe. But other than that, I think that's it. The other thing that I got the last time was my headset. I gotta be honest, I'm not a fan of these, but I'm hoping I can make them work. I may end up spending more money on a different pair later on, just because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to wear those for like hours on end. The good news is that usually, I think I won't have to worry about even having a headset on. I'm in a pretty quiet space here, so I'm like in an individual room. Door's able to be closed so my cat stays out, and I think even the TV's on right now and I can barely hear anything. So it should be fairly quiet down here, and it shouldn't be picking up a lot of extra background noise. I just wanted to have that just because it was highly recommended. And a lot of this stuff is basically because it's highly recommended. Hope to see you guys in the next video. I really don't know what I'm going to be showing over the next little bit. In fact, what I might do actually is after this video, take a little bit of a break. Probably take a couple weeks off from making videos, and then I'll resume once I start school. I think maybe is what I plan to do. I don't know though. I go by how I feel. Anyways, I think that's it. So I will see you guys in the next one. Bye everyone.